good evening, and this is Enriching Family Life, and we're in the midst of the Carnival, Bacchanal. Tonight is Marshall Monday. We have Pan, we have Kiddies Carnival. I mean, this evening, coming home from work, everyone was picking up costumes, and we're seeing all the excitement of Carnival in the air right now. And there's something very important that we need to look after, and that's our safety in Carnival. We know we're living in a society that tends to get very volatile at times, and although we're having a great time for Carnival and it's our festival, we need to look after ourselves. So tonight we have a very special guest with us, and we want to welcome ASP Joanne Archie to our program. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
And Joanne is the public, ASP Joanne Archer is the Public Information Officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And, I'm really thrilled to have her with us this evening. We're very excited to have her with us because at this time, as we can well imagine, the police service is extremely busy. They're out in their numbers.
Very much so.
And I also know that ASP Archie is recovering from the flu because you were supposed to be with us last week.
Me.
I hope I didn't cause that by mentioning it to you.
Let me clear before I...
So welcome to the program.
And thank you for having me. And I must say a special evening to the viewers as well.
But during this time of the year, I know that all your officers are out there and really, really quite busy. And a lot of what we're doing now is trying to manage the safety and security and take preventative measures. So tonight, really, we're going to be talking about what kind of preventative measures we can take for Carnival. And, Carnival is about, we say Carnival is women.
Yes. Yes.
So I want us to really start with talking about our women in Carnival and some of the areas that we can look at. And just before you start, Inspector Archie, I just wanted to let our viewers know we will in fact be opening the lines at 8:30 this evening, and you will be able to call in and ask questions, and I'm sure we'll be able to assist you
as far as possible.
As far as possible.
Yes,
Thank you. But let's talk a little bit about women in Carnival and some of the issues that you deal with often with.
Well, what I want to say firstly is that the TTPS is committed, protecting and serving, and with pride. And Carnival, we will be out in our numbers. However, we will still want to advise citizens that, self-awareness is one of the most effective forms of self-defense. You must be aware of your surroundings. I mean, Carnival is fun, rivalry, everybody having fun, playing masks, but sometimes we throw caution to the wind. Yes. And we as police officers, yes, we will be out there, but it is up to you as well to, effectively protect yourselves. With respect to women, we do get some reports of rapes around this time. And what I would want to advise women, well, at Carnival Fest, most of the persons out there are women.
Yes.
But we advise that women, they go out in groups. And we say that year go, year come. Now, even though it happens, you see women in groups in the fests. Again, what I would want to advise is that sometimes you may meet somebody when you go to a party, and you tend to leave the group. So that for a woman who is meeting somebody for the first time, we want to advise you do not leave the security of a social event to go with somebody who you have met for the first time or you don't know. Or even on a blind date.
Yes.
Because we have so much social networking sites now that you will meet somebody. If you have to meet somebody, meet them in the public. At least for the first time until you get to know that person. You see, even women who go to the fests, they are commuting late at night. I advise women to wear comfortable shoes. In the event that you have to make a quick escape and enter in a PH taxi, you may tell yourself that there's a female passenger in the car already. But don't be fooled by that, because it might just be a decoy to lure you into the car. So we're saying if you go into a taxi late at night, now we advise women against commuting late at night by yourself. Sometimes it may be necessary because of the person's job, but at least we get someone, to accompany you if you're going into a vehicle. A simple thing that you can do is to text the number of the vehicle to a family member or a friend, so that I am entering vehicle XYZ. if possible, a description of the driver, or as much as you can say, you text it to a friend or family. In the home, you find that sometimes women, even, okay, around Carnival time, so you may not want to go to where the Carnival celebrations are taking place. So you decide to stay at home. You have to be wary of persons coming around to do odd jobs. They may ring your doorbell. You don't want the grass cut, and at that time, really, you might get a price that is so favorable to you, but you're not thinking of your security at that point in time. So that we advise against bringing people into your premises to do odd jobs, especially persons who you do not know. Things like scaffolding and ladders around your house. You do not leave it lying around because there's easy access to your premises. If you are going away, what is advisable is that you let the police officers in the district in which you live, you can go to the station and let them know, listen, I live at XYZ and I will be away for, so that the police, when they make their patrols, they'll pay attention to the house. We advise also that you have motion sensor lights, or what we call night lights.
Yes.
So that a light on during the day and night is a giveaway.
It's an indicator that, yes.
Nobody is there.
Yeah.
So that you have night lights, so that in the night the lights can come on. And as I tell people, you have good locks, good lights, and good neighbors. The last one, good neighbors, you may not have much control over that, but proper security of your home is important. And even with women with children now,
Yes.
no, it's normal for you to want a babysitter around that time because you have to go and play with tribe or island people, and you have 3 kids. And what we normally see is that the neighbor say, well, okay, I'll keep the kids for you. You give me $100 and I'll stay with the kids.
Or I'll keep an eye on them for you. Even worse, yes.
You must be aware of the persons you leave in your children in custody. Even the household. You may know X, a neighbor 2 houses down. But who are the other people in that household? Can you trust them? So you are leaving your children with these people, or a younger brother you have and you want to give him a little incentive and leave the children. You can be charged if anything happened to those children. Under the Children's Act, there's the offense of willful neglect. If you neglect, abandon, or cause a child to suffer unnecessary, to obtain unnecessary suffering or injury to their health, you can be charged. So you may say, well, I left the child with a bigger sister. How old is the bigger sister? A juvenile as well. Yes. Or a bigger brother. Yes. I mean, I have seen in circumstances where both parents went to juvenile and left the 2 children home, one 7 and one 11, and a fire broke out in the house. Thank God they were not injured. I charged them for willful neglect, and they were convicted. So that we need to be wary of those things.
Yes.
And
a lot of times I think mothers and fathers, they say, oh, well, they sleep later, so they're not going, by the time they get up, we'll be back.
That's the time when something happens. Because children are curious and they do, strange things. You need to have your children supervised at all times, regardless of whatever band you have to play. Nothing is more important than the safety of your kids.
Yes. And what about if the children, if you've decided to do bringing the children into Port of Spain with you, into town, San Fernando, Port of Spain, Chagona, Sarima, you're taking them with you.
If you choose to bring your children into the Carnival celebrations, what I would advise is that, firstly, if these are children of tender ages, they may not be able to, some of them cannot give their name, or maybe the parents' name or address. So you write their name and their address, parents' name, phone number, and put it in a little slip in their pockets. In the event that they should stray away from you, or they should get lost in the Carnival celebrations, you will be able to identify them by this little slip that they may have in their pockets. If you have to use public facilities, washrooms, do not let the child go into that washroom alone. You as an adult accompany the child. If you want to stand right outside the door, do not tell the child go ahead and wait outside. You never know what can happen in there.
Inside. So actually go into the
facility. Don't stand outside. You go into the facility, ensure that the child is safe alone in that cubicle, whatever it is, but do not leave the child to go alone. strangers, well, of course, that's something we hear from ever since. You teach your child, if they should get lost in some way, look for a police officer in uniform. You approach, rather than a stranger, you approach a police officer in uniform, let them know you're lost, and your parents, or even the note in the pocket. So that these simple tips, I mean, if people adhere to it, there will be so many crimes that could be prevented.
Absolutely. And what about our women actually in Carnival, going in, now they're in the band, and we're actually in one of these big bands, or any band in Port of Spain, the steel band, and so what are some of the tips that you would advise? Because I know a lot of very young people, we have school children, A-level students, Form 5 students, and so in the mass bands, and so and they interact with a lot of adults, with much older people, with people who are a lot more streetwise than them. And so, what advice would you give, especially to parents? I know parents are petrified, and the children, they can't hold them back. They have to play the mass band.
But if they decide to allow your child to play mass, I would think that you will have them do so with somebody who's responsible. Because we know once there's consumption of alcohol, and especially with adults, you would want your child to be safe, even playing mass, so that you would not allow the child to go. Yes, she's going with the neighbor's daughter as well, but is the neighbor around with them? Or is the neighbor going to drop them and then go back for them? Who is monitoring their movements whilst they're there? And we see it happen a lot of times. You allow a child to go, that's her school friend, and she's going to spend the night over. Did you ever make any investigation to find out who is this child's parents? Who else live in the household? You understand? And you take it, or the child wants to go to cinema. That parent may pick up your child, well, I'm taking them, but she drops off those two children to come back some time later. What happens after the show while they're waiting there? So much we have heard, reports made of things happen during that period. When you as a parent would have thought that some adult was staying with them.
Yes.
Nothing of the sort
happened. A lot of times they organize a second pickup, or we're going to the movies, so we get dropped there, and then another car picks them up and they go where they really planned.
Who is monitoring that?
Yes.
So that even though you allow your child to play mass, they must be monitored as well.
Yes.
And some parents too, and I specifically will raise this issue, the behavior. You must act responsibly, because that younger child is looking at you. What example would you set and use it under the cover of Carnival? Do not do anything during the Carnival that you will have to feel ashamed about after.
Yes.
So that, yes, enjoy yourself, but do you have to do it in such a way that is over vulgar, that little child who's also playing mass with you, what do you expect of that child?
Yes.
So that as a parent or as an adult, you must set examples as well. You must be responsible. And we advise women generally, because we see all sorts of things around Carnival time. You must act responsibly. Some of these women are parents.
90%.
Yeah. So what would you expect from the younger ones when you behave in that manner? Nobody's saying that you wouldn't enjoy yourself. Have fun, but do it clean, do it respectfully, so that others looking on, when you would not after the carnival say, well, it was carnival time, I was getting on like that. So you have to put your head down.
Yes.
You know?
And we see it all the time in Carnival, huh? And also, the drinking, the consumption of alcohol. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that. And drugs. And drugs. Because I know alcohol is one stage, and then they go to the next stage and the smoking
what we advise persons, you decide how much you drink, not your friends. You know your limit.
Because we have the all-inclusive bans, free alcohol.
Exactly. So you tell yourself you paid $1,000 for drinks and eats, but you really feel you could drink out of that bar, and then you have to go behind the wheel, so that I just want to let the public know as well, police officers will be out there in their full force conducting breathalyzer exercises right through the country. So that to avoid all of that, we said have a designated driver. But what we have seen is that the designated driver, they are appointing somebody who is not a drinker, who is the designated driver, but that's the